I was beginning to think adoption was the only way out. Then a friend of mine introduced me to nap time. It's never been so quiet around here.
Are you a college student? If so, you probably look like this. But you could look like this if you improved your sleep habits and learned the power of naps. Humans have evolved a lot, but the importance of sleep and how we sleep hasn't changed. We operate on a circadian rhythm, a sleep cycle that repeats roughly every 24 hours that allows us to remain awake for long periods of time and sleep during periods of danger. Most living things have circadian rhythms. And when your main responsibility of the day is to get food and not be eaten by a lion, you can probably get enough sleep. But as 21st century humans, we don't like doing this. Instead, we accrue sleep debt by not sleeping enough, leaving us with a deficit. But despite what certain Twitter users may say, sleep is important. Drowsiness causes lapses in judgment and makes us inattentive. This can cause athletes to underperform, college students to fail tests, or make morons buy Twitter. The point being, sleep isn't just nice, it's necessary. These inattentive lapses in judgment can be dangerous and even fatal. But if you can't get more sleep at night, what can you do? One option is take naps. Forget that. You don't need WikiHow to teach you how to nap. I'm here to explain everything you need to know about how to nap on Stanford's campus. I'm going to explain why naps are helpful before moving on to the main part of this video. I've compiled a list of almost every location on campus I have taken a nap or fallen asleep and ranked them into a tier list for your convenience. So let's get into it. Firstly, why nap? Naps can be an incredibly helpful tool for getting in more sleep during the day. People almost always report feeling refreshed, more attentive, and energetic after taking a nap. Longer naps, over 40 minutes, can also be helpful as an extra time asleep throughout the day, but these cause grogginess and have a wake-up period. However, naps under 40 minutes can be more easily woken up from and are a great, quick solution to refresh during the day. For me, it's a little different. I take naps strategically throughout the day to prevent myself from falling asleep at bad times like while I'm in class or while driving. I take naps all over campus, wherever my schedule currently permits and wherever I am at the time. Sleep is different for everyone, and naps are no different. While they're refreshing for everyone, for people with narcolepsy they can be incredibly beneficial. Narcolepsy is a sleep disorder characterized by an irregular sleep pattern where people experience extreme daytime drowsiness as the brain cannot properly regulate the sleep-wake cycle. For people with narcolepsy, naps can sometimes stave off the more severe sleep attacks by sleeping at times when it's helpful, as to not involuntarily fall asleep when you don't really want to. Most narcoleptics also experience cataplexy, a sudden muscle weakness caused by strong emotions that causes people to become limp or paralyzed for short periods of time. But without further ado, to start us off in the bottom of the F tier, we have the bench on Wilbur Field. This is the absolute worst place I've ever taken a nap on Stanford's campus, and I cannot recommend it for any reason to anyone. This was only because I was mid-walking between two places and just couldn't make it back to my dorm. There is seriously no reason anyone would ever willingly take a nap on this bench. It's not that comfortable, and sleeping on a public bench at 9 o'clock at night is just generally a terrible idea. To round us off in the F tier, we have the bathroom of my dorm. I have done this more times than I care to admit, and it's always been a terrible experience. It's really embarrassing to have your friend find you in the bathroom asleep, so I can't recommend this, but I don't believe anyone who falls asleep in the bathroom is doing so willingly. Our first and only pick of the D tier is the dining hall. While more comfortable than the F tier, it is incredibly loud. And this is also a similar situation where I doubt you would ever choose to take a nap here. It's simply out of convenience. In our C tier, we have two similar locations with the same drawback. Old Union Courtyard is a nice, centrally located area with comfortable chairs and decent ambient noise. Unfortunately, it shares the same problem with the other C tier pick, Meyer Green. While both locations are nice, scenic, and centrally located, they have a glaring issue: Outside areas bring the additional challenge of sunlight. Alongside getting enough sleep, you need to get quality sleep. Dark, quiet, and comfortable areas are always going to be a healthier place to go to sleep, even with naps. Sunlight, even on overcast days, can be really detrimental to your circadian rhythm and isn't going to be as good for you as taking a nap indoors or in a quiet environment. If you have a sleep mask, this can help, or sunglasses, but in general, it's just going to be more difficult than sleeping inside. At B tier, we have libraries. Green Library is a great location. It's quiet in the stacks and a good location for getting work done. My only real issue is the chairs are kinda uncomfortable for taking naps in. The classic face down on the table is always an option, but it's not ideal. Lathrop has all of the same strengths and drawbacks as Green. The only difference is that the chairs are slightly more comfortable in my opinion. Otherwise, it's utterly silent all the time to a point where it's somewhat creepy, and it doesn't require so much walking around to find an open desk. Both solid options. Starting us off on the A tier, we have class. Now, by all metrics of traditional, good sleep locations, a bright, loud lecture hall would be terrible. However, class has the unique advantage of being the most comfortable environment in the world. I don't care how expensive of a mattress you can find, nothing can ever be as comfortable as whatever chair you are currently sitting in during a 3-hour lecture. On a more serious note, we have the 24-hour study lounge. I like to do work here, but I also understand the incredibly uncomfortable and sterile room brightly lit by fluorescent lights at all hours of the day isn't exactly a crowd pleaser. However, as far as naps go, if you bring something to block the light, this spot is fantastic. It has comfortable benches that you can lay down on or at least lay back in. Just lay back, throw your jacket over your head to block out the light, and it's a great option. Finally, we have arrived at the S tier, the absolute cream of the crop of Stanford nap spots and my personal favorite locations. Let's get into it. Our first spot is your dorm room. With a comfortable bed, controllable lighting, and usually quiet environment, your room is simply unmatched for getting good quality sleep. There isn't too much to say on this one because this should be obvious. A major exception is people with insomnia. People with insomnia have anxiety about sleep and often have difficulty sleeping in their own beds. For them, another random location on campus might actually be easier, and changing your sleep environments is a common method of treatment for this condition. My main issue with my room is that it's simply too comfortable. A 10-minute power nap always seems to turn into 5 hours, and I'm simply not productive enough. Which brings me to my top spot, the king of Stanford nap spots and my personal location of choice, Old Union. This may be surprising because there isn't really anything that would similarly differentiate this from a library or any other place on campus, and certainly not want to put it over a room. But my reason is really simple: full-length couches. This is one of the only places on campus that is in a good location that you could find this and be productive. Being able to completely and comfortably lay down is an absolute game changer. I carry a sleep mask in my backpack, but anything you can throw over your head to block light will do. In this case, you have a comfortable and dark environment. It can be a little noisy, but this is just about the only place on campus that you can get better sleep outside of a dorm room.
This brings us to the end of our list. I hope this helps you take more naps around Stanford's campus and improve your own sleep schedule. Remember, drowsiness is red alert.